Alright, so right now I'm just adding in the mulch into Spike's Enclosure. I did decide to go with the bark blend. It is a kind of more dry mulch. And then I also got a bag of the jungle blend, which is more moist. So what I did was I just put down the bark blend first, and then the jungle blend, I just put it on top of it and mixed it together in my hands, and then just added another layer of the jungle blend, just because the jungle blend is way more moist than the bark blend itself. So I just felt like that would be better, just because, I also got to I got to worry about the temperature of the enclosure a lot, and the humidity. I just got to stay at a certain point just so he could be comfortable and, nothing will happen to him. So yeah, I just added another layer of the jungle blend over there, and then I added more of the jungle blend where I put his little place, his little hiding place at. Now what you see me doing now, I'm just adding in the shagna moss. I did wet the shagna moss before I put it in there, and then I just went over it again and wet the mulch and the shagna moss all together, just so I can keep everything damp. And then I put the cork flat on his little space over in the corner. And then now you just see me putting in decorations, the branch and, the fake plants or whatever. Now, when I took him out the box, he was very, very scared. He was running around. He just didn't know what the hell was going on. So actually, he hid himself under the paper. Like, you can see, I don't open the box. I was like, wait, where is he? But he buried himself under the paper. So I actually had to take that. When I took the paper out, he started running around. I guess because he was just like disoriented and didn't know what the hell was going on. Because he doesn't know me. I just got him. So he was very, very scared. You can see. He was like, you can see him just running around a lot. Every time I just put my hair in there and he just starts running. So what I had to eventually end up doing was, because I didn't want to shake him out the box, just because I thought that would just scare him even more, which I didn't want to do. So I just ended up cutting the other side of the box, because I actually tipped the box over and he still didn't want to come out. So I just cut the other side of the box and boop, he just came right out. So, and after that, after he came out, I literally just see what he wanted to do. He was just running around the tank a lot, just, he was scared. He didn't know what the hell was going on. So he just started messing stuff up, running around, which is okay, which is normal. Kind of figured he was going to end up doing that, try to escape a little bit. But once he got used to it and see that he wasn't in any harm, he was fine. Now, this is just a full view of the enclosure after I finished. You can see his water dish and his fruit bowl behind the water dish in the right-hand corner. And then that's the thermostat that I got for him, which checks the humidity and the temperature of the enclosure, which is cool. So I can always know if it's too low for him, or if I gotta add some more, or I gotta miss the enclosure some, or I could just check the temperature to see if it's at a decent temperature, which it's supposed to be at. Which the lady's said it was supposed to be around 100 to 125 degrees, and the humidity to 60 to 80 degrees for the humidity. So and then kind of I had to just find like a little routine I had to do. Just spray the enclosure, once it gets a little low, and then the humidity ended up rising. Of course, I actually bought this mister from Home Depot. It was only like $10. HDX. It holds a gallon of water, so that's good. So I won't have to keep, constantly refilling it when he needs to get it, because I will have to spray this a lot, like probably multiple times a day, probably up to like 6 times a day, if depending on how the humidity. But since I got the enclosure, I already had to spray it around, I want to say like 4 or 5 times. Yeah, and this is the same day that I'm recording my voiceover for this video. Is the same day I set up the enclosure. So yeah, and I already sprayed it about 4 or 5 times, and I haven't had it all day. So yeah, that's why I feel like this is a good mister for him. And yeah. I'm just making sure I get down to, all the corners, make sure everything is just, moist and wet. It's just that way when the heat lamp heats up the enclosure, the humidity will rise just because everything is moist in the tank. So that's always good. Just want to keep the humidity. I would say keep it around like 60 degrees or 65. You don't want it too high, you don't want it too low. So I just figured, right in the middle is always good. So, but if anything does happen, which I doubt it would, if I have to take him to the vet or anything, and then I'll just ask the vet what's a good temperature for him. But I'm pretty sure this is a good temperature. Would be around 60, 65 degrees for the humidity. That's just based off what the lady told me at the pet store. So that's what I'm going with right now. Just making sure that everything is just has water in it and is moist constantly. Because that heat lamp does heat up pretty fast, so the humidity tends to low quick if you don't, constantly watch it. I think I might just get a humidifier for the tank, just so like when I'm at work or I'm asleep, it'll constantly be at a certain, degree for him, so I won't have to keep constantly misting it. I'm just getting in the glass and making sure everything is on, nice and moist for him. Also, this mister is good because when he starts shedding, I can, mist him down with the mister, and it will help him shed better. Because, I don't want his shedding to get messed up, and then I have to help him shed and, peel it, because that can really hurt the animal, and that's not what you want at all, because you don't want to rip any skin off or anything off the animal at all. So just when he's shedding, I could just mist him down a little bit, and then hopefully that his shed will just come right off. And if he has any stagler, little shedding, I could just help him with that. That won't be an issue. Just making sure everything is nice and moist for him. I think I also might get a little stand for his enclosure too, just so his enclosure won't be on the floor. Because I don't know, I just feel like that would be better, just for him to be at a little higher pace, so I won't have to keep bending down constantly to, clean his tank out, or put crickets in there for him, or little feeder mice. I just feel like it'd be better for me as well, and just it just should look nicer. Because nobody wants a tank on the floor. But that's just what I'm doing for right now, and just because this was kind of a last minute thing, getting the enclosure for him. And this is just a little feeder mice that I got him. I actually ended up putting in there later for him. Not at the time I'm showing you this, but just because I put some crickets in there for him, and I just didn't want to overfeed him, because they did say they fed him before I got him at the store. So, I didn't want to overfeed him, feed him too much. At the time I'm recording this voiceover right now, I actually put some apples in there for him as well too. Plus he ate them out, so I just put the apples in just so in case he wanted something to snack on, he could have that. And he also has like crickets running around, hopping in there that he's just attacking at willingly whenever he wants to. So that's always good. I didn't put too much in there because I didn't want the crickets, just to be all over him. So I just put like 10 in there. And right now I'm just putting the heat lamp on there. They did say it was okay for me to put him in there before the temperature was at where it's supposed to be at, because I guess he would so can get it adjusted to it better. So yeah, now I'm just maneuvering everything and setting it up so he can be at top comfortability. I'm sorry. You can see he's already burying himself deep in the moss and the mulch, which is they tend to do, just getting himself more comfortable in the enclosure. You see me holding up the cork flat because I was trying to figure out how the hell I wanted to put it in there, just so he could be at his utmost comfortability. I actually ended up deciding to put it right under the heat lamp just so it could be heated. So when he wants to sleep under it, he could still be at the temperature he needs to be at. Another thing, when I feed him, I do knock on the glass before I feed him, just so he knows that is when he's getting fed. Because I don't want him just to think, because if I don't have something to let him know that he's getting fed, when I put my hand in there, he might think it's feeding time, and he might try to, snap at me or anything. So I just knock on the glass, like 3 times, just to let him know, and put his food in there, just to let him know that, okay, now it's feeding time. So when I put my hand in there, I do not knock on the glass. I just, put my hand in there, pick him up, just so he can be more comfortable. These dogs are a lot. I said these lizards are a lot like dogs. Is what I meant to say. As in, you can actually. Now you see me. I'm just putting the feeding mice in there. I was surprised he didn't instantly attack the feeder mice, which that really surprised me. Now I'm just showing the time which I fed him. It was 8:15, and I actually got him around 2 o'clock, 2:30, and I actually got him at the house into the enclosure around like 3:30. He wasn't really worried about the feeder mice at first when I first put him in there. But eventually he did eat the feeder mice, which I will show you guys in a different video. Because I ended up having recorded it on a different phone because I was just recording a video of him, just to put on my Facebook story. And then he ended up eating the mouse, so that was cool as well. And you see little crickets hopping around on the log in the enclosure. I don't know if you guys can see him, but he's actually buried right under that stagnant moss, right in the corner. Like I say, right diagonally from the mouse where I'm putting him at. His head should be like right at the end of that cork flat. Honestly, he just buried himself under there. But he eventually came out, to get some water, to run around. He attacked a couple crickets, buried himself under there a little more, and got some heat. I think eventually I just end up putting like a little camera inside his enclosure, just so like when I'm at work or I'm sleeping, just I won't miss anything special that happens, or like if I put a mouse in there, he tries to attack it, I could just put that in there. But this is the end of the video, you guys. Thanks for watching. And this is the life of Spike.